Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your favorite bike life mechanic, Ezra here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a worm. Today, I'm gathered by my Se Bikes Big Ripper. This is the 2017 model. And today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up your bike for wheelies. Before I get too ahead of myself, I just wanted to say that this video is all opinionated. There's no perfect seat height. There's no perfect bar angle. This is all my personal preference. And this video is mainly for people that have no clue where to, how to adjust their bike for wheelies. So hopefully this video helps you guys, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. So first things first are the tires. So when we're talking wheelies, you mainly want to shoot for street tires. You don't want to do wheelies on knobby tires. That's just, it's not a good feeling when you're wheeling and it's bumpy and you can't swerve at all, because if you swerve then you're gonna hurt yourself by falling. So I would recommend some Maxxis hookworms if you're riding like a Big Ripper and stuff like that. But basically you don't have to run Maxxis, you don't have to run hookworms by all means, but I definitely do recommend street tires. I used to have knobby tires on my Duro back there. It's out of frame, you guys can't see it, but I didn't like it at all, which is why there's street tires on there. Another thing about tires is your PSI and what you should be running. So when you're doing wheelies, your front wheel is always coming up and then smacking back on the ground. So ideally, if you are just doing wheelies and not doing any big jumps, if you're not hitting any trails, you're just doing wheelies and that's it, run a pretty high PSI in the front. For the Big Ripper, I would say around like 38, 40 PSI, which is a lot, I know. It's like the max you can go, but you really want that solid tire pressure, so that way, you don't get pinch flats or anything when you're slamming the tire back down. And for the rear, a little bit lower, but still high compared to, if you were going to hit the trails. So back, I would say 32 to 36, somewhere around there. But that's just for Big Rippers. It kind of varies with all different types of bikes and the tire sizes and the tube sizes. So I'm going to show you guys how to adjust your tire PSI. So a good thing to always have as a biker is a nice quality floor pump for your tires that displays the tire's PSI. It's very important. If you just have a cheap handheld pump, that's not going to cut it. This is definitely something you want to invest in. So just unscrew this cap on your tube. Go ahead and pump it up. So like I said, just kind of zoom in on there. So like I said, around 40, somewhere like that. It was at like 36, so just kind of pump it up. And then after you're done, kind of feel your tires. If there's a lot of bend to them, then you should probably pump it up a little bit more. But if they're pretty firm, then, boom, you're done. So make sure, put that cap back on and don't lose it like I did. Where's my cap at? Oh, it's underneath. And boom, that's your tire pressure. So next, which is arguably the most controversial thing on this list, is seat height and seat angle. Now, I'm not here to tell you that having your seat 3 inches above the seat post is the perfect seat height. I can't tell you guys that, because your seat height really depends on how tall you are. But to give you guys a reference, I'm 6 foot even, and I wheelie comfortably with my seat around 2 or 3 inches above the seat clamp. So I can't tell you guys specifically about seat height. So now to adjust your seat height, you want to look at your seat clamp right here, which on the Big Ripper is this red thing right here. And there should be a little bolt in there. So you want to just loosen that up. It shouldn't be ever too tight. If it is, you should probably loosen that up and not tighten it down all the way too tight, because you will strip your bolt. And once you get it loosened enough, your seat should just be able to move up and down. Get it to your perfect seat height.
You also want to make sure it's positioned straight with your frame, so that's about straight, and then tighten it. It's also a good rule of thumb, since your seat post and the inside of your frame is straight metal and metal contact, to grease up your seat post so it doesn't stick to the metal inside of your frame. Just a good rule of thumb to always do that. And same with anything metal on metal, inside of your bolts, threads, stuff like that. Always, grease them up before putting them in. So be sure to do that.
Now for seat angle, again, I can't really tell you guys the perfect seat angle, but some things to keep in mind. When your seat is tilted forward, right? When you're gonna wheelie your bike, that seat is gonna feel even. So if you're doing nothing but wheelies, you're catching blocks, you're wheeling for 10 minutes at a time, it might be a good idea to tilt the seat forward. Now the thing about that is when you're riding your bike, you can't sit on the seat without sliding. So you're going to have to sit on the very edge of your seat, which hurts your ass. So I have my seat kind of tilted back just a tad bit. That might be a little bit odd to see, but I ride my bike more than I do wheelie it, so I keep my seat like this. But if, like I said, if you're wheeling for a super duper long time and you're wanting to do tricks, wanting to do combos, wanting to get fancy with your wheelies, definitely tilt your seat as far as it can forward. That'll greatly improve your wheelies.
Now to adjust your seat angle, you're going to loosen your seat clamp, like I said previously, and just pull your seat out. You might need to twist it a little bit. Once your seat's out, underneath the seat, you'll see this bolt right here. You're just going to want to loosen this bolt. Remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Apparently I don't know that. Alright. Remember guys, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Once you loosen that about 3 or 4 turns, you'll see the seat want to change angle. So if you want your seat forward, just push the seat forward. And then when you put it in, you could see the seat is tilted forward. Once you get into that spot you like, just tighten that bolt down. And you're off to the races.
So next up is your bars and bar angle. Again, personal preference. I gotta mention that. When I first started learning wheelies, I tilted my bars forward. So that way, when I'm pulling, there's more bar to pull on as a leverage, if that makes sense. So if your bars are up close like this, you're not going to have much to pull on when you're doing wheelies. If you have your bars forward, that gives you a lot to pull on. With that being said though, if your bars are tilted forward, when you turn, you're going to turn like this. It's going to pivot really weirdly. You see, I have my bars aligned with my forks. So straight line. So that way when I turn my bars, it is just simply that. Instead of having them forward, and it's like this. So that is something to keep in mind. So having your bars kind of tilted forward sort of helps. But I would personally recommend you guys just align it with the forks, unless you are super short and you bought a big ripper for some reason. Bruh. If you're under 5'3", I don't know why you bought a big ripper, but if you're under 5'3", you might want to keep the bars back, kind of just so you're not stretching your bag just to reach for the bars. But again, personal preference, but I keep my bars parallel with my forks, and all runs well.
Alright, so to adjust your bar angle, you're going to want to focus on these 4 bolts right here. These 4 bolts basically pinch down on the bar. For all you guys that ride bikes and it has a 4-bolt stem, this is a great tip. Loosen 1 bolt, so 1 bolt, doesn't matter which one. When I mean loosen, I mean just kind of break the tension, so it's kind of hard. Boom, that's it. And then the one that you just loosened, do the one across from it. So you're just gonna, same thing. Don't loosen it all the way, just break the tension. So it's hard, easy. Take it out, and then move on to the next pair. So again, hard, easy, and move on. Boom. Now after doing that once, you can kind of play around with it a little bit. Since they're not so tight anymore, you know, it's not going to affect the bars at all. See, just like that, the bars come loose. And now you can adjust your bar angle. This is kind of how I used to run my bars when I first started wheeling. Now, I know this kind of looks crazy because I have really big bars, but this is how I used to run my bars. And when I turn, it is kind of really awkward because the pivot is forward and it pivots kind of back. It's, you know, mathematician, magician, kind of jingle block side. So I'm not too fond with that kind of stuff, but I sure can tell you guys that this is very awkward to ride, but gives you that leverage when you're pulling for wheelies. So next thing I'm going to be talking about are your brakes. This doesn't apply to all brakes because these are mechanical rim brakes. Some people have hydraulic rim brakes. Some people have mechanical disc brakes. Some people have hydraulic disc brakes. It's a lot. But right now I'm just going to talk about mechanical rim brakes because that's what the majority of SE bikes and most wheelie bikes have. So I'm going to be talking about brake lever positioning and how tight your brakes are. So with your brake lever and the positioning of it, these bars are super wide and so are my grips. So this can, you know, vary. So how you want to position your brake lever is you want to comfortably rest your hand on the grip and you want your index finger to be over it. Just one finger. You don't want to be wheeling with 4 fingers on the brake because you're not going to be able to pull up on the grip with just your thumb. So index finger, brake lever, that's how it should be positioned. So here I have my Duro. Again, lay my hand comfortably on the grip, one finger, boom. And see, I had to position my lever a bit away from the grip as far as it'll go. That way I can comfortably rest only one finger on it. You see, if the lever was closer to the grip, I would be grabbing it like this. You don't want that. You want to get the very tip, just the tip, if you know what I mean. So if that requires you guys to loosen this bolt right here, just give it a little loosen up. It shouldn't take that much loosening to, you know, get it to move where you want it. And once you get it loosened, you can kind of wiggle it wherever you need. If you lay your hand here, then you'd want to push it in. Obviously I can't because my grip's so long. But you guys get what I'm saying. And now we're going to be talking about lever height. So same thing. Loosen that bolt. And you want to get it to your desired location where, you know, you can rest one finger on it comfortably. And so now you want to like kind of sit on your bike, act like you're riding, and say, where should I rest my finger on my brake? So mine's right here, so I'd move my lever up. So now when I'm riding, I can always have one finger on my brake. If your brake lever is all the way down here, you're not going to be riding like this. That's just very awkward. So kind of have it up a little bit so that you're comfortably riding and always having one finger on that brake. If you need to, if you really want to, hold down the brakes, get into wheelie position, and kind of be like, okay, where do I want my brakes? Do I want it there? Do I want it there? That feels good. So then let go, and then tighten that up. It is very important not to tighten that way too much, because if you strip it, then you're messed up. You've messed up. Big time. So only about 28 nanometers per hydrogen. And you should be good. Now we're going to be talking about brake tension. So right now my brakes bottom out about halfway down. For V-brakes, that is sharp. Alright? It is personal preference whether you like your brakes solid like this or like it going all the way down to the grip before it bottoms out. It's up to you guys. Personal preference. Said it a million, trillion times. Personal preference. But if you guys like your brakes, you know, going down to the grip, and it's, you know, like mine right now, very sharp, you can look at this quick adjuster right here. Sort of twist this, if that makes sense. Twist that down, bottom that out. and then now twist the whole thing and tighten it. What that'll do is it'll give the cable more slack, and it'll make this be a lot more loose. Me personally, I don't like my brakes like that. I like my brakes to be there automatically. So loosen the whole thing out. Periodically, feel for your brake. Let's say that's about good. And then loosen that down to keep it in place. That's just the quick adjusters. If you guys are in need of more adjustment to your rim V-brakes, then I will have a video link in the description down below. In adjusting your brake arms and the tensions, it's very confusing. Not really. I just don't want to talk about it in this video. I want to keep it nice, short, sweet, and simple. So video link down in the description down below if you guys are having trouble with that.
Yeah, so that is how you want to set up your bike for wheelies. If you guys like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully this video helped you guys, and if it didn't, hopefully you guys found it entertaining. It is currently 11:21, so it is very late. I'm very tired, and I really have to poop. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.